Welcome everybody to Forza Horizon 5, and today we're taking a look at the 2008 Aston Martin DBS. Now this was produced between 2007 and 2012, and 3,381 of these were made. It's based on the DB9, and you can trace the DBS name all the way back to 1967, where it was used on a car with an inline 6 engine, which was then upgraded to a V8, and then the name was dropped to just the V8 name. That would also have the Vantage name alongside it. So yeah, been a long while since the DBS had a car until this one was released, and yeah, it's got some many different features on it to help set it apart from the DB9. So it's got 85% of its weight in between the wheels, which helps improve handling. It's got carbon ceramic brakes, which are not only lighter than normal steel brakes, but also much better at stopping the car. It's got lightweight aluminium wheels, adaptive damping system, which changes the car's behaviour depending on the kind of conditions that the car is being driven in and the kind of aggression that you're giving the car itself. It's got carbon fibre bonnet, boot, front wings, door opening surrounds and boot compartment, and the roof and the doors are also made of aluminium. It's also got a 6-speed manual gearbox, as well as a carbon fibre splitter and carbon fibre rear diffuser to also improve handling. So yeah, all of those lightweight elements, and yet somehow this car still weighs 3,737 pounds. So yeah, it does weigh a lot, but like I said, a lot of that weight is in between the wheels. So it's a lot of weight, but it means that you've not got a lot of weight over the rear end or at the front, so you don't have a lot of oversteer, and neither do you have a lot of understeer as well, which is further helped in terms of the understeer due to most of the engine being behind the front wheels as well. So yeah, it's a lot of engineering has gone into this. It's not merely a slightly fettled DB9. A lot of work has gone into this car to make it as good as handling a car can be on this platform. It also looks absolutely gorgeous. The DB9 is a gorgeous looking car, but I think with the extra little elements to this, it's only been improved. And yeah, I do include the bonnet having the the scoops and the vents and whatnot on it, and then you got your front splitter. I like the design of the wheels. I like the rear end with its slightly colour coordinated rear lights, the twin exhausts, the rear diffuser, the slight spoiler on the back there. Just looks a very handsome car, and it's probably one of the last Aston Martins to be a heavyweight of a car while also being a beautiful looking one at the same time, because Aston Martins will get a little bit on the lighter side of things after this car had ended its run in 2012, and especially after the DB9 had ended its run after 2016. So yeah, and it's got a nice enough interior as well. Obviously it's a little bit old hat in the fact that you've got a lot of buttons and whatnot, and yeah, obviously most cars nowadays have big touch screens and whatnot, but I like the simplicity of this. I also like the white and black dials, which are going in reverse as in terms of the revs, that is. But the speedometer also swings up and around, so that's pretty nice. And yeah, just nice looking interior. Nice amount of aluminium, carbon fibre and leather used with nice stitching. So all are handsomely done, as per usual with Aston Martin interiors from their modern cars. And because it is a Grand Tourer, you've got a decent amount of boot space as well. So yeah, you can also take some of your luggage around. I'm not sure if it's got rear seats or not. I actually haven't actually had a look at that. Yes, it seemingly does. So yeah, if you've got a couple of children or people that are properly small, you can actually get them in the rear as well. But where this car also excels is under the bonnet, as it has a 5.9 litre V12 engine. I know it's a 6 litre, but they just basically round it up like Mercedes do. But it is a 5.9 litre V12 engine, the same that was used in the DB9. But unlike that car, which around the same period as this had roughly between 450 and 470 horsepower, this has 510 horsepower and 420 pounds-feet of torque. So yeah, the DB9 wouldn't get that level of power until 2013, and wouldn't exceed that amount of power until 2015. So yeah, the DB9 certainly was kept a little bit behind in terms of its power, so this could be the top top name in the Aston Martin's lineup. But obviously once this went by the wayside, the DB9 could then step up the mark. So yeah, the DB9 eventually got up to 540 horsepower with the GT version, which yeah, I'd really like to see on a game. Like a lot of Aston Martins that we haven't had before, though, to be fair. So yeah, but nonetheless, let's get out onto the open road and see what this car can do. So here we are once again at the drag strip, so let's get down this drag strip, see what we can do before we hit the speed camera in terms of speed, and then yeah, we'll get it around the racetrack. So being as heavy as it is, you wouldn't expect this car to shift particularly well, but it really does. The gearbox is nice and smooth, and yeah, it gets off the line nicely enough, and it's a quite a high revving engine as well. As you can see, nearly 7,000 RPM for its naturally aspirated V12 engine, and yeah, no real slouch, to be honest. Nearly 130 miles an hour, which is not bad for a what is now a 16-year-old car. And yeah, this is probably my one of my favourite of the post-2000s Aston Martins. I think the only other two that I could really say I like as much are the DBS Superleggera, which would follow on this quite a ways after, and then the V12 Vantage, because yeah, it's just a sort of small, lightweight car, and yet it's got the same kind of engine as this, but even more power. So yeah, they're the two that I'd say I like maybe as much, or slightly more in terms of the other DBS version of this car. But yeah, I love all three. But it is a shame that there aren't certain other Aston Martins from around this period that we do not have. The Aston Martin V8 Vantage, for instance, being a prime example. So yeah, we're in about mid-A class, so not quite as high in terms of PI as you might expect, especially considering the stats on the whole are fairly decent, especially in terms of the speed, the handling and the braking. The braking being as good there because of the carbon ceramic brakes. Obviously it'd be even better if it was lighter, but still, that is a really rather good braking stat for a 2008 car that weighs as much as this does. Acceleration and launch are on a little bit on the weaker side of things, but once you do get up and go with this car, yeah, it is pretty good in terms of acceleration. Its mid-range clout is really rather quite phenomenal, because at the end of the day it does have a lot of power, but it also has a fair decent chunky amount of torque as well to go alongside with it. So yeah, but nonetheless, let's listen to what this car sounds like, and then we'll talk about it some more. Yeah, a very nice sounding engine overall, to be honest. I really like its kind of throaty nature it's got going for it, which you can hear a little bit more on the interior, but we've listened to it a fair decent already, so we'll leave that for now. But yeah, it's a very good handling car as well. Again, considering its weight, that is a big surprise, but because of most of the weight is in between the wheels, you know, you don't have the understeer or oversteer you might expect from such a heavyweight car. And even though there is oversteer, which you know you'd expect for a car with more than 500 horsepower and only being rear-wheel drive, it's manageable oversteer, and to go alongside that, you don't really have any understeer as well. And it's such a smooth handling car; it's really no fuss at all to get a fair decent amount of speed out of it. And the acceleration is pretty good as well for a car of this age. 0 to 60 in 4.186 seconds. 0 to 109.1 seconds, and it went to a top speed of 198 miles an hour, which is really rather quite quick, and it's not massively so far off the pace of more modern Aston Martins, to be honest, which again is a surprise given the amount of weight it's got and the fact it's way down on power over a lot of modern Aston Martins. So yeah, I really do love this car, and it's not even because of its association with the Bond series, because it was used in Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace, although not in particularly a massive amount of the running time of either film. But still, they were used really rather well in both of those films, and yeah, I just love this car overall, and it's really glad to have it in the game. Granted, it is in the new Forza Motorsport game as well as standard. It's, you know, it's not been added after the fact, whereas it has been added after the fact in this game. It is part of the festival playlist, and you have to get quite a chunky 40 points to get this car, which is a lot, granted, especially for a car that we've had in prior Forza games, but still I think it's well worth it because it's a fantastic handling car, sounds good, looks amazing, and you've got the added bonus of it being a James Bond car, which is never a bad thing to have in a game. So yeah, get out there and get it if you haven't already. You will also get the McLaren 12C as you get up to the 40 points of this, as that is 20 points in the playlist as well. So, you know, you're getting two cars at the end of the day, and yeah, but this is my favourite of the two, and easily one of my favourite modern Aston Martins. But again, I do stress that there are so many Aston Martins post 90s that we have not had in a Forza game before, like the DB7 GT, the standard DB9 we've not had for a while. I don't think we've had any convertible Aston Martins either. I'd also love the Aston Martin V8 Vantage. That obviously we've had the V12 version of that car, but we've never had the V8 version as far as I'm aware, and that car sounds absolutely glorious. So yeah, there are plenty more Aston Martins that I do believe that should be in this game, but this is at least a step towards that. Nonetheless though, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.